All right, so this indicator is called AssetStacks. Again, we're going to right click on the chart, go to indicators, click on First Light Beacon, and then click on AssetStack. Now, this indicator has some really interesting settings. We have operating mode auto. If you set it on auto, it's going to automatically pick the correlating assets for the chart that you're on. So we're on MNQ or NQ, so it's going to use ES and YM. If I swap over to ES or to something like that, it's going to swap these around. Or you can select advanced, and you can go into advanced and all the other settings start working. This is a really advanced indicator. And that's why there's an auto and advanced settings. There are going to be users that are going to want to pick through all of this and choose what they do and what they see, which is fine. Obviously, that's why the settings are there. But most users are going to use auto. They're going to trade the thing they trade. There's a bunch of settings on here that I don't use, but this is one of my go-to indicators to know what price is doing right now. This is an indicator that I use for entry models and things like that. All right, so diagnostic print, you don't want that on. This is just for debugging. Eventually that's going to be removed. My zone type, you can use session, just like the First Light Beacon, and then or time based. For time based, you're going to type in minutes what you want. I'm gonna fix this. This is actually, I'm sorry, it's a little unprofessional, but this is something that needs to be done. There'll be a drop down here, but I use the 420-minute zone on time based. All right. Now you can set these leader numbers or show signal arrows and stuff like that on here, and it's going to give you signals and stuff like that. All right. I don't particularly use them, but some people like them, and that's why they're there. Then you have your coloring for those signals. Now we have show chart byline, sell line, midline. That's going to be your main First Light Beacon zone. So that's what this is, and that's going to be whatever chart you're on. So that's MNQ or that's NQ. That's MNQ because I'm on MNQ right now. So that's my main zone. That's actually the chart zone of the 420. Okay. Now the rest of them are going to follow this 420 until we get into advanced mode, and we can actually change those up into different time frames and different handle times for the other assets. But just to keep things simple for right now, they're staying on 420. This is how I use it. I don't have these selected, but I just have the zone fill selected, so I can just see the zone. You can change those colors to whatever you want down in the colors. Now, the next group of things is show correlation 1. The correlation 1 is going to be right here versus ES, and that's because it's right here as an ES, and that's based off of auto mode. Now I could go to advanced and then change that to whatever I want it to be, and it's going to swap that, and it's going to pull that data, and it's going to put it on the chart. Now correlation 2 we can turn on or off, right, by just turning these right here. The fill for correlation 2 is right here. Now we have correlation 1, 2. This is 1, this is 2, and then we have our main. Okay. I use correlation 2 when we're really choppy to help me kind of figure out like, hey, what's up here. But I'm typically not really using correlation 2 visually. Now we have our VIX. We have figured out a way to map the VIX. Okay, so we can actually put the fill on there and show the table for the VIX. I don't want to see that. All I want to do is see if it's up here in my little list that tells me, are we above or below? Is it aligned? Okay, so this thing's going to go, all right, you're aligned with everything, green, 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 green. And it's going to be like buy. If you're aligned with everything for bearish, it's going to pretty much say sell. And then it's going to tell you if there's absorption or there's exhaustion, and all that stuff's built into it. Okay. And then we're using the VIX to help correlate if we're going up or not. And you can turn on the VIX live zone. Well, right now there's no data, so it's not going to do it. It's actually live. It'll show up on the screen, but it's really messy, and you don't really, that's why there's an option to not have it. It's hard to see anything with it on there. You can turn on VIX end caps. Why do I have those? Well, I like to see the VIX as end caps, and I trade those. So I trade the rejections. We can literally see on the FLB. I use TradingView for that. It works better. And see where the VIX might turn around, and it works. And people are like, "You're crazy. That's about a fear and emotion." And well, I'm telling you right now that I call out VIX trades all the time, or rejections or reversals, because of of watching the VIX bounce off 4-hour end caps. So I don't know what to tell you. Anyways, flow intelligence, that's basically, it's using all that stuff to create the general, or the signals, not the general, but it's just trading those general signals at the top. They do work well, but I use it. I don't use them. All right. Require FLB context. That's requiring, okay, are we up or below the zones? What should we be doing? So right here, what's going on here? This is a mixed signal. We're below the 420, but we're in between ES and NQ's value. So this is kind of something I wouldn't even want to be getting into. Or looking at it as it's a false breakdown that I want to return back up, right? Anyways, and that's what this is for. Show flow markers. All these are just in the indications. Then you have your background tints where it's saying, okay, we have actually broken above. See how the price is above both zones. So we're above NQ's value and we're above ES's value, and they're aligned with each other. So it's going bullish, and it's saying, yeah, boom, let's go for it. And you can turn that on. I don't use it again, but you can. You can show the flow in the table if you want. You can turn it off if you want. The flow is kind of, it's how we're determining if we're bull, or if we're absorbing or we're exhausting, and etc. Then you get into your chart symbols. Okay, so you can change them or you can auto map them, and you can do however you want. Now, enable correlation 2, right? I don't even have it on. Is going to give me to start using those signals and everything up there. But that's the YM, and I'm just not using it and at the moment. And then we can change per asset timing. So we can change correlation 2 to session, New York, whatever we want, or we can go to time-based and change it to whatever we want. If you have it on an auto, it's automatically going to be using 420 up here unless you change it down here. Okay, even if you put it on advanced, you have to turn this on. Advanced, the normalization, you can, so there's the using mid ratios and then using close ratios. I use close ratio. It gives me more, it's more accurate. That's just what I use. But there's some people out there that want to see the midline zones, and they want to see the detail that comes with that data instead. And so it doesn't do much, but it will give you certain signals where you're getting mid zones. Anyways, AssetStack, the confluence, that's enabling confluence. We're above or we're below all of them, or we're in between. So it's, basically telling us we're either choppy or not. Mid agreement is the midline agreement. It's requiring it. And then here's just loopbacks. And those are just defaulted. I just leave them alone. And that's pretty much it for it. Now, here's a trick. If you don't want a bunch of stuff up here in the upper left in the label, just delete this right here. Like, I could put whatever I wanted in there, and that's what's going to show up at the top. See all that crap? Now, if you just delete this and then right here, click save template, save as default, it'll come up like this every single time, or you can save multiple templates. And then here is plotting, where you can turn them on and off. So that's AssetStack. Now, just so you can see how it's working and kind of like how I use it. So I use it to help me with entries. Okay. I want to see if price is above both zones, right? And that gives me more of an idea that we are going in that direction or not. If we're not above both zones, I'm really not interested in the price action at all. I understand that this is a really nice drop, and it's a really good drop, but it doesn't align with the system. I would rather see this breakout up above and take this, and then take these rejections up here, then try to chase this all the way down here, right? And then these right here are really good signals. These are all really good signals. And then the green dot, that is the bullish absorption. And then if we're bearish, it's going to show bearish exhaustion, but none of this is bearish. It's all bullish, so it's not even going to show it. It doesn't. It's designed to not give you signals when we're in a certain state, basically. But yeah, just all bullish lately. And then there are settings you can change where it will pick this up right here. Now, this is something I would take. I want you to see this. Price dropped. The zone itself actually broke away and crossed through. We get our pullback here, and then it drops. And then this zone stays below. I would hold this trade just because both of these are like this, and price is below it. This is a plus alignment in my eyes, because you have NQ, the chart asset, and then ES below it, and then price below it. They're completely aligned. And basically ES's value is front running NQ right there is how I describe it. And then again, right here, we get our flip, and it's kind of like, you know, how you would use moving averages, but this isn't moving averages, this is value. And it's way more accurate. So that's how I use AssetStacker. That's the value in AssetStacker. And it's a very powerful indicator. It actually is what powers TradeShield scalping mode. So if you're using TradeShield, which we'll talk about later on another tutorial, this is what's actually telling you if you should be going short or long in those scalps and TradeShield, and actually stopping you from taking the trade in the wrong direction. Anyways, if you have any questions, let me know. But this is AssetStacker.